Dünyanın en büyük sports marketing ajansı Octagon, olimpiyatlar ve dünya kupalarında markaları sporun büyük gücüyle bir araya getiriyor. Sporun özellikle futbolun iletişim değerini son 3 Dünya Kupası'nda da dev markalarıyla kampanya yapmış bir ismi anlatacak. Futbol neden hala satıyor? Sunumu için Octagon Başkan Yardımcısı Trautwein'ı sahneye davet ediyoruz.
Thank you for the warm welcome. It's great to be here. Actually, not sure if it's appropriate to send a German on stage in probably the worst year of German football to speak specifically about football, but I'm not going to complain. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about where we see the industry, but I'll kick you off with a small video to introduce you to the world of Octagon.
Unlock your potential. Become the eagle.
Hey JD, who's my birdie buddy? Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
So, Octagon is a creative marketing agency with a specialism in sports and culture, and we do that across the globe. Whether that's at the FIFA World Cup this summer in Russia, where we partnered with 6 of the FIFA sponsors, or whether that's here in Turkey, when we brought, for example, Maria Sharapova to host the biggest indoor tennis event last year. One thing, if it hasn't come through in the video, attention is, in our belief, the world's most valuable commodity, and fighting for that attention for brands, for rights holder, is key to what we do. But why are we here today? We're really here today to understand what's next. So what's going to happen next in the industry, and what does that mean for football specifically, and the relevance of football. So let's take a step back and look at where we're heading in general. So media fragmentation is growing rapidly. We just heard the guys from YouTube. And that's a challenge for scale and relevance for any platform, and really for any property out there. But let's be honest, right? Football fans don't care about brands. Football fans really care about football and their team. They're way more passionate about their team than Apple fans would ever be about Apple products. And that is good news. Sweaty palms are helping us, are helping the industry. It's good that I'm excited when I'm sitting in front of my television and when my team plays on Saturday, or when I go into the office the next morning after my team has won, and I can brag about how good they were. Well, maybe not this year as a German, as I said. And it works because sponsorship works by association. Daniel Kahneman, Nobel Prize-winning author, has written a book about the two systems and how our brain is functioning. And one side of our brain, the system 1, as he calls it, is the emotional side. So that's when we make quick decisions. And the other one is the logical, where we are more rational about how we make our decisions. The good thing about it is that, according to Kahneman, the emotional part of the brain is making our purchase decisions. So when we're emotionally involved, it's actually gonna help us. So brands that are associated with a passion platform always have a favorable outcome. So let's look at what's next from a landscape perspective. It's actually a great time to be a fan. It used to be very one-dimensional in terms of how you can interact with your favorite team, but today there's so many ways to interact and engage. 24/7, you're basically able to connect with your sport. And that is leading us into an era of connectivity, right? If you look at how sponsorship has evolved over the years, and with that, we're seeing a new category, if you will, of sponsors coming to life, which is the new endemics. New endemics, if you compare them to the other categories that we have traditional sponsors who've always been out there. They're out for eyeballs, and they don't really have a connection to the sport. We have the traditional endemics, which are brands that are very closely connected to the sport. So first and foremost, Adidas, Wilson, the Gatorade, that have a true connection to the sport because they're part of the game. And the new endemics are creating that connection these days. They're creating that through technology and through innovation in the first place. So a brand like SAP enhances the sponsor experience for fans and the sponsor and opens up new opportunities for those partners and for the fans as well. What does that mean for the industry? We need more collaboration between rights holder, between traditional sponsors and new endemics to create those new opportunities. We will see new platforms popping up, and old platforms that are relevant today may not be relevant in a couple of years. We're always out to create better experiences through technology. So that's going to evolve, and brands as well as rights holders are going to look at how can we enhance the fan engagement and fan experience even more. And we're going to have to challenge the existing playbooks. So there's no off-the-shelf solution anymore, really. We're looking at new ways to create and design sponsorships these days. Then, in terms of partnerships, how do we see the industry there? Obviously, you're engaging with a platform for a variety of reasons, and I'm not going to go into detail as to why a sponsor would become a partner of a specific platform, but that's always the starting point, right? And historically, it's been more of a sponsorship approach, which is expensive, one-dimensional, primarily targeted at event audiences and brand awareness through TV. But today, we're more looking at and that's why we always say it's partnerships, not sponsorships anymore. We're looking at partnerships they're way more efficient, multi-channel. There's a lot of connection through digital, and they're actually enabling the fans to engage in a variety of ways. Today, partnerships look more like this. So we have quite a few instances where there's multiple passion points that are connected, whether that's culinary and sports, or music and sports, or music and culinary, or you name it. So it's not just one-dimensional in that sense. And it enables consumers to see things from a new perspective. So there's a discovery aspect to it, and an openness which makes the brand feel more intrinsic to the consumer as they engage with the platform and the brand, because it's part of the experience. And that then in the end allows a form of self-expression where consumers can directly influence how they want to engage and how much they want to engage and content they want to share. In terms of designing those partnerships, it's important that you buy the right opportunity when it's available off the shelf. Availability is obviously a limitation, but it has to be the right partnership. And then design that partnership in terms of the assets that you're getting from the platform, as well as the additional amplification opportunities that you have with social partners, for example. And that then enables you to create your own content that is based and rooted in a shared story that you as a brand and the property have. And telling that story is fundamental for the success of a partnership. Briefly want to go into where we stand with consumption, and we've just seen YouTube, obviously one of the big channels out there, and again, not going to go into detail. These numbers are probably outdating themselves as I speak. So there's a variety of platforms. I said it before. What's relevant today may not be relevant tomorrow, but we're clearly in an age where we're only going to deal with digital natives as the core consumer group. So dinosaurs like myself, who've grown up reading newspapers, are probably no longer relevant in that sense. And we're speaking to a very empowered fan community out there. They're creating content on their own. They're finding ways to engage. This is it's from last year, but it's still a nice example after the bomb attack on the Dortmund bus, how the fans from Dortmund and Monaco kind of created their own campaign, which was super successful and a great story that could be told out there. One thing that remains, though, is that the experiences and socializing still prevail, even with the millennial audience. So millennials are still willing to spend money on experiences. And you see that in esports when like 10 or 15,000 people are going to see a live event to experience and exchange each other on site with others. And it's still influencing the way that they spend their money positively. So people that are attending live events are more likely to purchase a specific brand that they connect with that event. What does that mean for content? It needs to be multi-platform. TV is no longer the first screen, probably not even the second screen anymore. Content has to be shareable and packaged in short formats. It works much better. And then the areas of entrance must be relatively low. So we want to lead into a proof point or example from the past World Cup that I want to show you. We're working with AB InBev, biggest brewery in the world. They're a FIFA World Cup sponsor. And this summer they created a campaign which we think ticks a lot of the boxes and also gives a good proof point as to why we think football is still a very much relevant platform. So the campaign they ran was Light Up the World Cup. Is a global campaign, Budweiser in focus. And the activities spanned really all forms of engagement that you could have, from in-stadium concessions to obviously a large part that was happening in media. So basically any content that they used was being amplified. They had big experiential touch points in Moscow, but there are also elements like which seem pretty basic, but hospitality, packaging, and so forth. I have a short video to show you what they've done to summarize their activities, so I'll leave you with that for a second.
needed to dream big. It required an integrated effort across all functions and all 9 zones. It required the biggest campaign in ABI history. We gave ourselves an audacious challenge. Maybe by relative to most talked about brand during the 2018 FIFA World Cup. That had a big shot to the vehicle from 2014. This is the story of how Budweiser won the 2018 FIFA World Cup. First, we uncovered the unique insight on how fans feel about the tournament. And we created a campaign idea that will inspire fans to make the most of that amazing money. Second, we built a commercial plan that would generate buzz where it matters most. We limited efficient packaging, dynamic tools for the on and off trade, including 8 million red light cups, which lit up to the energy of cheering fans. Our global sales force executed the biggest, most consistent commercial activation on history. Third, we gave fans experiences they had to share. At the Bud Hotel, on the Bud Road, in the Bud Clubs, and the Bud accidents around the world. Fourth, we created content that would get consumers talking. We completed the biggest beer drop in history. Turned the Budweiser brand from that program into a social media phenomenon. And pulled off stunts that are millions of views. Through our use of influencers, Budweiser is featured authentically in social media feeds of millions of consumers. We built new, exciting ways to reach consumers and amplify moments of euphoria. On the 15th of July, 2018, who won the FIFA World Cup? Budweiser. We didn't just overtake our rivals to become the most talked about brand. We set a new standard. Budweiser generated nearly half of all digital buzz, proving that Budweiser was the most talked about brand during the 2018 FIFA World Cup. We achieved our impressive sales targets and set a new record for beer sales in World Cup venues, increasing consumption per person by 15% from Brazil, outselling Coca-Cola 2-1, making Budweiser the king of beer and the king of FIFA World Cup.
Certainly one of the most impressive campaigns that I have worked on, that we have worked on as a company. Why did it work? Because they found a story that was rooted in their playing turf. They have a nice playing turf, right? It's football and it's beer and celebration. So a very easy story to find. They made some choices, so there's a vast number of opportunities out there when you're in the football space specifically. But they made a few choices to concentrate their efforts. They acted social, so even with the massive investment on the ground in redesigning a boat and taking over a club and bringing 10 top-level international artists there, or renovating a hotel all over, they always thought content, content, content. So all of that was just done to make sure that it's being amplified out in the market. And they truly allowed themselves to think big, think out of the box, and then acted upon that. So to summarize and to come to a conclusion as to why we think football still sells, we will see new brands that are entering the space, new endemics, who will challenge the incumbents in the battle for eyeballs and attention. And content will be key. The good thing is football as a platform offers such a deep and sheer endless a variety of stories and opportunities that it's easy to find those stories, but it must be the right story for your brand. So don't start without having identified that shared story. And then last but not least, football will remain at the core of people's passion, and they will continue to engage with brands that are active in the space. So with that, I want to thank you for listening in. I'm hoping you're going to enjoy the rest of the day, and I'll be around for a few more hours if anyone wants to have a quick chat. Thank you.